All right, in this video we're going to look at percent error and average deviation. So percent error starts by, we're going to find the average of our experimental results. So if we do that, we use our calculator, we find our average is 1.18. Now the real answer, the correct answer is 1.30. So we're off. And the question is, how much are we off? So the way percent error works is you first figure out how far off you are. So percent error is how far off you are. And we're not going to worry about being positive or negative, just how far is this from the correct answer. So we take the difference, that is 0.12 is how far off we are. Now is that good or bad? It all depends on, well, what's the correct number? If you're off by 0.12, it doesn't sound like much, but what if the answer is 0.2? Then that's a considerable amount to be off if the number is much smaller. So it's how far off you are over the actual or the theoretical answer, and then times 100 to make it a percent. So the percent error is simply 0.12 divided by 1.3, and then we'll multiply that by 100 to get our percent error. So 0.12 divided by 1.3, and then I get about, if I do sig figs, that would be about 9.2% error. So not great, not the worst, but that's how that is. Now average deviation is a way of measuring precision. Precision is how far off these numbers are from each other. So they don't look particularly consistent, so this is not probably very precise. So the way you find average deviation is, again, you start by finding the average, in this case 1.18. And then you just take each of the three measurements, or however many measurements you did, and say how far is each one away from 1.18. So my first number, 1.12, that is 0.06 away. 1.26 is 0.08 away from 1.18. And 1.16 is 0.02 away. These are the deviations, how far each one is from the average. Then I average these numbers, so 0.06 plus 0.08 plus 0.02, and I divide, and I get the average of that. My average deviation is 0.053. I'll probably just keep that 3 there. So this is my average deviation. If I want to go one step further, I can find my percent deviation. Percent deviation is your average deviation over the average number, again, times 100. So I'm off by 0.053. My average was 1.18, and then I multiply that by 100. So 1.18, and this is about 4.5% percent deviation. So they're reasonably precise, but that middle one, that 1.26, kind of throws it off a little bit. Be careful when calculating average deviation. There's a big tendency to compare each of these numbers not to the average, but to mistakenly compare it to the real answer. Precision measures how close these numbers are to each other. It has nothing to do with if you're correct or not. So we ignore this completely when we calculate average deviation. Always compare it to the average of the values. You only use this number when you're trying to figure out how accurate you are, which is what percent error is. So percent error measures accuracy. Average deviation or percent deviation measures precision. So just be cautious with that. Until next time, I am Derek Genova. Have a delightful day.